Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Carols. Part of the carol collection is over there. Oh, I am so happy to see every single face this morning. And I am happy to hold in my heart those who cannot be here this morning because they are healing. And the practitioners have been busy doing some heavy lifting, including for me, because my nose was running off my face all week. And I was sneezing like I was allergic to something. And so finally, when I gave up on the efficacy of my own prayers for myself, I put word out to the practitioners that I needed a little help. And I am not exaggerating. Within 15 minutes of putting out that prayer request, my symptoms changed. And have just continued to improve from there. And if I sneeze during my talk, I apologize in advance.
God bless you on the truth.
Oh my gosh. You know, when your own words come back at you, it's funny. Good morning, Zoom. Good morning, Facebook. Glorious Sunday morning to us all. So today, we get to talk about and think about and reflect on how life responds. Now, what do I mean by that? What do I mean by life response? Well, for those of you who were here last week or who have watched last week's talk, you know that I spoke about us giving direction to that life within us through our choices, through our thoughts. And it may seem a little strange that this universal law takes direction from us, but that's how it works. That's how it was all set up from the very beginning. That is why we have free will, is so that it actually means something to make our own decisions. It actually has juice when we make a decision or make a choice and we feel strongly about it. It's interesting, in a God has a sense of humor sort of way, that Deborah would read, I have a dream this morning, and so exquisitely too. Thank you again. We all have a dream. We all have a dream, whatever it is. It may just be to wake up tomorrow. It may just be to have our finances in order. And I'm not minimizing anything by using the word just. We're the ones who tend to minimize. Because we may not have a big fat dream. You know, we may not have a dream that we consider to be any big whoop. It may just be that our roof doesn't leak.
Right.
Now, to everybody else who doesn't have the potential of a leaky roof, that may seem like no big thing. But to Patty and Marissa, it is a big dang thing if the roof doesn't leak. Now, this is the perfect time for me to talk about our languaging.
Yes. Thank you.
Because if the roof doesn't leak, what is it doing?
It's even protecting.
It's protecting you. It's sound, right?
Yes.
The roof is sound.
Yes.
Our tendency, and as I often say, I know this may not apply to anybody here, but we know people whose tendency it is to speak in the negative. It's easy to talk about what we don't want. Well, if what we're focused on is what we don't want, that's what we are generating more of. What? What do you mean? If I'm focused on what I don't want, I'm generating more of it. All right, let's look at the basics. There's one life. That one life is all life. Always has been, always will be, is right this instant, including the life of everyone here, including the life of everything that we can see around us, including the life of our chairs. Now, how in the world can she stand there and say that my chair has a life? Has she lost her mind? No. Our chair has a life because it started as an idea. And the fabric started as an idea. And the frame started as an idea. It is all that life, even things that appear to be inanimate. So when we are putting words to, I'm not even going to say our dream, because that tends to get confused with our purpose, and that tends to get confused with something that has to be a big whoop-de-doo idea. I'm just talking about an everyday, ordinary thing. So before we say what we don't want, let's think about what we do. Because if we don't have the thing we don't want, what do we have? It might be peace of mind. It might be health. It might be ease. It might be a spaciousness in our life. Often I hear people talk about wanting more time. Okay? Set it up that way. Set it up that way. Give ourselves every shot at having exactly the life that we would like to live. Now, it occurs to me that sometimes we might confuse having the life we want to live with also having other people do the things we want them to do. Right? Good luck. Because that is not our zone. It's not our zone. It's not our lane. And we have no control over what they choose.
Mhm.
Have you noticed? Would it be nice if we did? I hear kind of mixed answers out there. I heard yes, no, well, maybe. It wouldn't be nice if we did. Because then we are in a position of messing around with someone else's idea of what's good for them. And that's not where we belong. That's not where our skills belong. That's not where our talents belong. That's not where our focus belongs. Our focus belongs on what works for us. And if what works for us happens to be somebody else changing their behavior, come and see me. Or talk to another practitioner. Because, again, that's not our lane. We are in charge of our happiness.
Mhm.
We are in charge of our well-being. We are in charge of our frame of mind. We are in charge of our choices. We are in charge in ways that we don't even realize. And you know, we may be having circumstances in our lives that make us feel like we're not in charge, somebody else is in charge. Well, first of all, look at that circumstance. Just stand there and look at it. Without any judgment, just for a second, come on, without any judgment, just for a second, look at that circumstance. Look at what we think we are at the affect of, and go, am I really? Because if I really feel that I'm at the affect of someone else's choices, who's choosing to stay at the affect of someone else's choices?
Mhm.
Are, you know, the deal about being present and alive and having all of the choice that we have and the abilities that we have, the deal comes with self-responsibility.
Yes.
So it's free will, and it's also self-responsibility.
Mhm.
So how does life respond when we give it direction through our choice, through our thought? How does life respond? Okay, now you really have to listen up. Because life responds by agreeing in the form of yes to deliver either in physical form or in emotional form or in whatever kind of form makes sense for the thing it is that we're putting juice in the thought about. It agrees to deliver that exactly as we not hope,
Huh.
expect it to.
Mm-hmm.
What does expectation have to do with this? Oh, everything.
Mm-hmm.
So Ernest Holmes in The Science of Mind talks about, and so does Thomas Troward preceding him, talks about offering to the one, the universe, spirit, God, love, whatever you want to call it, a mold that is empty. We fill it. We fill it with our ideas. We fill it with our choices. We fill it with our illusions. We fill it with our beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
So then what happens with that mold? Well, what happens with most molds? You turn it over. I'm thinking Jell-O now. You turn it over, and there it stands, and it has in it everything you put in it.
Mm-hmm.
Not everything you hoped this fantasy divineness would put in it, but everything that you put in it. Okay, I need to take a pause right here because there are some of us in this room or people that we know and people that we know who are struggling with health issues, who have challenges with health issues. Did we put those in the mold?
He found his voice.
No, I can't give him.
No.
We'd be here till tomorrow. Well, it's kind of hard to say. Did we create the environment for whatever it is that's going on in our bodies to happen? Now, when I was doing my allergy thing all week, I hadn't been thinking about having allergies. I hadn't been giving a single thought to what's in bloom right now because I never had allergies before we lived here. I wasn't thinking about that. So how might I have created the environment for my body to get the wrong information, for these allergies to think that it was okay to take up occupancy in my body and make me sneeze and sniffle and cough and such? Well, how I created the environment, I just spoke the words a moment ago, second ago.
You moved to New Mexico.
I moved to New Mexico. And it never occurred to me that I would then be susceptible to anything that I had not been susceptible to before until I saw all these people who were suffering from allergies. I'll never forget it. Denise and I, shortly after we moved here, were at the supermarket and we were standing in the checkout line, and everybody in the checkout line had red eyes, and they were teary, and they were sniffling, and they were, men, women, kids, didn't matter. And we looked at each other and we said to the cashier, what's going on? Everybody just looks so uncomfortable. And she said, allergies. Like it was some kind of a pronouncement that if you live in Santa Fe, you have allergies. Well, apparently, I bought the t-shirt. Because there has to be, in order for allergies to show up in me, there has to be a place in me that believes that I am susceptible.
Right.
Mhm.
There has to be. There has to be a place in us that believes that we are available to the unwanted,
Mm.
for the unwanted to show up. Now, let's say the unwanted does show up. What do we do then? Am I stuck with my allergies?
No.
No.
Good. You all get gold stars. Of course not. But can I change it overnight?
Sometimes.
Stephen said, in case y'all want to know, maybe. And what the maybe is about is my belief. Because if I believe I can change it overnight, I can. Now that may show up, the evidence of that, because remember, the law, life never acts in any way other than according to its nature.
Mhm.
So if my course correction with my belief would mean, in order for it to show up, would mean that the law had to respond to me in a way that was not in alignment with its nature, it won't happen that way.
Right.
It'll take a while. That doesn't mean that life isn't listening. That doesn't mean that life isn't present. That doesn't mean that life is any less part of our life. It just means that there is a natural order of things, and that is exactly how it always works.
Yes.
So we can't give up. Well, we can. We can give up. We can give in. We can say, oh well. It feels hard. It's not that it's hard. We are being asked to be patient. I didn't make room for allergies at the level of the ones I had this week, that I experienced this week. I didn't make room for that overnight. Nor did I have them like that overnight. They have developed over the last 11 years to that degree. Isn't that special? Because I said yes. So, how life works, it's very simple. How life responds, it's very simple. It responds to our direction that we have the strongest belief in. And if our strongest belief is in what someone else says might happen, If our strongest belief is in what someone else says is the diagnosis of the day, and I'm not being facetious, you know that's what diagnosis means. It means today's information. If my strongest belief is in anything but life itself, and life itself having the wherewithal, the means, any and all of everything that is required in order to create what it is that we are calling forward. If I believe in anything but that, or if I have doubt about that ability and about it being available to me, whether it's because of feelings of unworthiness or feelings of, well, God, I got this far, what's the point of trying to make changes now? What's not the point?
Right.
We have the rest of our lives to live as we choose.
Amen.
What is not the point? This is the only point that matters, is deciding what we believe, what we have faith in, and letting that, and that alone, be what we follow. And so it is.
So it is.